Welcome to episode 207 of the MailleWerX Chainmail live stream. My name's Sean and I run MailleWerX.com, where you can find all the chainmail themed apparel and accessories that your heart desires. Nailed it. How's everyone doing tonight? How's work today? What's your Monday look like? What is going on? What's going on with this? This is a mess. I don't even know where I'm at here. Man, switch cameras here. Okay. Let's do some work there. All that's done. Okay, so it looks like this is kind of where I ended whenever I worked on this last. Need to work on this because, to be honest, my wrists have been killing me. So, trying to take a little bit of a break. We'll see how that goes. I've got my wrist braces that I've been wearing. It's really difficult to weave when you're wearing them. Not impossible, but I feel like it just makes it more awkward. So I am not wearing them right now, but probably should be. Now this is 18 gauge 1/4 inch aluminum. It's dead soft. It's not hard to open and close at all. So I'm not too worried about aggravating my wrists tonight, but I did not weave all day. I was getting other stuff done, which is really nice. I got... So, on Friday I thought I had resubmitted the app for MailleWerX to be verified and reviewed and verified by Apple and Google. And turns out that that was not the case at all. I had not finished submitting them. So I got that done. I'm happy about that. And it looks like everything should work this time. My goal has been moved. I thought I'd have the goal of getting the app up by the end of March, and I moved it to the end of April, but we might actually get it done by the beginning of April, which will be so nice. So I'm excited about that, because I worked really hard on it, and most of it's okay, right? So, hey James, how you doing? Hey Barb. Most of the app is okay. I think it looks pretty good, it functions pretty well, and I am excited to have people give me feedback on it. So there was an issue with Apple when you have an app that collects any information, right? For most apps, well, every app, right? They all collect some information. Okay, this song is annoying. Thank you for the like, Barb. I appreciate it. James, you're doing good. It's good to hear. Okay. So, it is very rare when you come across an app in either app store that doesn't collect any information on you. Because there is a page to sign in to the app so that you can converse with other people on the app. A social wall, right? Like there is email and username, and there's email and username collection, right? Fairly standard, just like when you sign into Facebook, right? But because the app has notifications, right? I had to go in and this is for Apple. And this was the problem. I had to go in and set it up so that when you go to Apple App Store and download the app, in the description, it will say, you know, this app tracks your locations for XYZ purposes. Right? So it's going to be interesting if they accept it. I did not have, on the location setting, it tracks a course location, not down to the meter or however, like MapQuest or Google Maps gives you. Not that close, but close enough so that it can send a message to your phone. Right, and I did not have that filled out, and it took me forever to figure out exactly what I needed to have in there. I had to go back into my settings on the app and input that, and then resubmit the whole project. And it looks like it's going to go through this time, so I will be very happy to move on from that. On to the next project, so I don't know if you guys have been to the MailleWerX page recently, but I took a lot of stuff down and I am adding a lot of stuff, or I will be adding a lot of stuff, and then once that's done, it shouldn't take me but, I don't know, a week. Then, hopefully by the middle of April or so, I will be able to start working on new designs. That's my goal. Get everything set up properly so that I can do my job of designing stuff. So, hopefully, it all pans out and I get it all done. I did manage to set up an appointment with a lawyer, so I'm going to get a consult tomorrow, find out if I can sue my previous employer or not. So that's fun. I'm glad I got that done because I kept forgetting about it, and that sounds awesome. Thank you. I hope it is awesome. I hope people enjoy it. So yeah, tomorrow morning, lawyer's gonna call me. I'm gonna give them the details, and they're gonna give me a response as to whether or not I can move forward. Which, like, I'm sure there's a lawyer out there who would take my case and sue regardless of whether or not I had a chance of winning. This is just to see if there are other people who were wrongfully discharged and are suing and winning. So, we will see. You haven't been checking out too many websites? Well, if you go to my website, it will look like the same old website. And then hopefully by next week, it will look like my website, much more polished. So, you were wrongfully let go. You didn't know that? Yes, I have not worked since February. And I got my unemployment set up, trying to get my VA stuff set up, so yep. And it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't over anything I did. It was over something I refused to do, so I don't feel like I'm in the wrong. We'll see. I think it's a pretty easy winnable case, so but I don't know. That's why I'm talking to a lawyer. It does suck. It does suck. But it's given me the opportunity to finish the app for my store, update my store, get to a point where things on my website are functioning correctly, and I mean, it was just a lot of work that I never had time to sit down and figure out what to do. So I got that done. I have been on my way out of the nursing field for years, right? I've been a nurse for 18 years, and I've worked in all types of different environments. I've worked in different countries. So watching healthcare devolve into what it's become, I'm okay with leaving it. So, be a stay-at-home dad? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be a stay-at-home dad, and I'm gonna run my business, and whatever else pops up. Like, I'm not just gonna sit still. So I figure with my unemployment and whatever monies I get from the VA, I will have to survive off of that for the time being until business picks up and I become self-sustainable, and then I'm going to work on becoming ridiculously wealthy. That's my goal now. I've got time to work on it, so yeah, it sucks that I lost my job, but it's a good thing in the long run. And it's going to be really good for me, so fortunately, I've spent the last couple years trying to build out a system of financial resiliency. And so, like, I'm not, I can go a couple months without having a job. I'll be okay for a little bit. So if everything I do doesn't work out, I can, spend some time off and then go back to work if I have to. Yes, I am very much able to look at the upside of it because it's all upside, right? If I don't have to go back into the medical field, great, right? Because the whole thing is a scam from top to bottom. If I can get my business up to a point where it's just a polished, smooth running machine and I get to spend time designing stuff as opposed to working on the business, great. And if I can take that and take that business and build out more businesses with that. That's what I'm gonna do. So if I just come downstairs and I work on it a little bit or a lot every day, consistency will get me somewhere. Right? And having my store set up properly will really help. Hey Rick, how you doing? You had a conversation going on with a customer. Congratulations. Always good to have customers. So yeah, while I was at the museum with my son on Friday, I got a call from the unemployment office, and they said that I should have some monies coming to me, so just keep filing my claims and doing my work search stuff. And I got to get back to a couple people to let them know that their position just not going to be a good fit for me. So. And then once my VA stuff comes in, I will start the appeal process on that. Excuse me. There you go. There it is. Excuse me. Because on the hearing test, the lady that was running the hearing test informed me that she performed the test wrong. So I'm going to appeal that hearing test because she flat out told me she did it wrong, right? So that's one thing I'm going to appeal. And then I have a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury from being thrown onto my head while I was in Iraq. And when that happened, I dislocated 2 discs in my neck. And I submitted the paperwork for it and all my medical records that came afterwards. And they rolled those 2 things into one. So I have to go and resubmit or reapply or appeal to get my neck looked at because they did not evaluate that. And that's the most severe injury I have. So I need that to finish up so I can resubmit for all that stuff. That's, and that was, I started this process back in December. And it was great timing because of all the nonsense going on in the medical field. I wasn't sure if I would have a job in a few months. What a pain in the ass to have to jump through the hoops. Yeah. It's quite the song and dance. It's something I should have done years ago. But once the initial evaluation is done, then I can go and get signed up with a doctor at the VA, get my sleep apnea evaluated, get prescriptions for my asthma and my blood pressure medications that I can probably, live without for a little while, but it's best if I take at least those 2. So, where was I in Iraq and when? I was in Iraq from 2004 to 2005, June of 04 to 05, and then June of 07 to 08. And I was in a little prison called Abu Ghraib. You may have heard of it. If you've ever heard of the Lindy, England, or the humanitarian crisis with Iraqi detainees, where there was rampant prisoner abuse, that was the prison I was at after all that happened. Come here. So Abu Ghraib's right outside of Baghdad. I was there in 04 to 05, and then I was in Camp Buka 07 to 08, which is in southern Iraq. Not a whole lot going on down there. It's another prison facility, detainment facility. Oh, my nose. Was that at or near Stryker? It was an hour away from Stryker. Stryker's close to Baghdad. Stryker's in the green zone. Does my memory serve me correct? I want to say that that's correct. So there was a hospital that the unit I was deployed with ran in Baghdad, and I want to say that that was near Stryker, in the green zone inside of Baghdad. But someone who was there would have to confirm that. I'm terrible with names. But you were in Taji, December 05 till November 06. Where is Taji? Let's see here. Taji map. No, I don't want directions. I just want to. Oh, you. Okay, so you're just north of Baghdad. It looks like I was southwest of you, like an hour and a half, maybe. Just outside of the green zone? Yeah. Yeah, you're northeast of where I was. How long were you there? You said 05 to 06? Right on. Were you Army, Marines? We had a lot of Marines in Abu Ghraib for about 6 months. Your sister was a Stryker? Okay. Yeah, right on. Come on. Yeah, I think Renee was in Tikrit. Tikrit, Iraq. No, not Sikh. Yeah, there you go. I don't need directions. Yeah, she was a lot farther north than you. You're in the Army? Right on. What did you do in the Army? I was a nurse. I wasn't very gung-ho. But despite what nursing has become, it did give me a job for 18 years, and it was a career. So it's just sad to see what's going on. Track vehicle mechanic until you got to Iraq? Right on. Track vehicles like Bradleys and Abrams. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Bradleys and Abrams are a type of tank. Yeah, I was in the military for 7 years, and then I got out and went to school. And had I stayed in, I would be retiring this year. But there's no way. After 7 years, I couldn't hack it anymore. I was like, this is dumb. Had I stayed in a field unit, right, and never gone to a medical center, a med-sen, I would have been a lot better off. I could have functioned in a field unit, but a med-sen was all politics and nonsense bullshit, filled with people who didn't want to do their jobs. Like I've never met, you know. You did village patrol, setting up barricades, recovery of blown-up vehicles, raids, mortuary affairs, and firefighting. Yeah, once you got there, you got like 7 jobs. Sounds about right. Yeah. Nope, I just worked in a hospital. The most exciting thing I ever did was escort convoys and sewage and sanitation trucks and they didn't, like, we're not a combat unit, so they didn't let us do that too much, but sometimes they let us go out on convoys if they needed a body. Because I was a nurse, I could act as the medic and, you know, have a weapon, so... Alright, Barb, have a good night. You have a good day tomorrow, too. So, in fact, what was it? Yesterday, the day before, was this big anniversary. It was an anniversary of the largest attack on Abu Ghraib, and some, like, an attack of 300 insurgents, and one of them tried to drive a semi-truck through the front gate, chock full of explosives, and it blew, like, I don't know, a 60-foot hole in the ground or something. The walls on we lived inside the jail, and so the walls were made of concrete, and after the fight was over, nobody could sleep that night, but after the fight was over, in the morning, there were RPGs that had hit the building and fallen to the ground, unexploded. I think I actually have a picture of that somewhere, which is a really stupid thing. If you ever see a picture of an explosive, don't walk up of an unexploded ordnance. Don't walk up to it and take a picture. It's a really dumb thing to do. But I'm not the brightest rock in the pond, so I have a picture of an RPG that hit the wall. I think that was to the compound. There's a wall around Abu Ghraib, which fell down one time. Then there was a wall around the prison that we lived in. So I think the one I found was on the wall outside of the prison. And then there were the prison walls. But yeah, it was like April 2nd or 3rd or something. We got to stay up all night getting shelled and mortared and RPG'd and, you know, people firing shots over the walls and there we were, just treating anyone who got injured. So, that was a long time ago. Your friend picked one up and threw it? Yeah, sounds about right. Yeet! Yep, the whole deployment, right, was valuable afterwards. I didn't think that I did, you know, too much while I was there, but when you're deployed, your time preference has to increase exponentially because the whole world moves slower. Okay, you can't, unless someone sends you something, you can't get nothing out there. And it takes forever to get there. You just gotta have patience to get stuff done. You know, wait on getting stuff done. And then you have to fill up the time in between, you know, when you get one package to the next package, right? Excuse me. And so you really have to get creative. Got to know how to entertain yourself. That was actually where I finished my first chainmail shirt attempt. And I call it an attempt because it's this tube of European 6-in-1 galvanized steel, 14 gauge, 3/8 wire with, you know, kind of sleeves and a hole for my head. And it's a really terrible, terrible thing. It's an atrocity. It really is. So, but I did finish it there because there wasn't much else to do. Oh yeah, try getting fresh cigarettes mailed to you? Yeah. Yup. Everything slows down and takes forever. And I mean, you just get to a point where you can self-entertain and you don't mind waiting. So my second deployment, the unit I was with, they're just not, they just weren't the brightest bulbs, right? All kinds of unnecessary nonsense went on with that unit. Oh, what have I done? Oh, okay, well, we'll just circle around. So, one night on my second deployment, we get attacked, right? And it was a fairly large attack. And my unit had everyone meet up at the company headquarters, which is a trailer surrounded by HESCO barriers. HESCO barriers are these wire and cardboard tubes filled with dirt, right? And they made everybody stand around until the entire unit showed up and signed in. Okay? But here's the problem, right? There's not enough room in the trailer for everybody to be in there. The trailers aren't protected overhead from anything. So if a mortar hits the trailer, the mortar's going into the trailer, right? And if a mortar lands inside this HESCO barriers, okay, and everybody's standing around waiting for everyone else to show up, that would kill all of your medical professionals right there, or injure them, because they're all concentrated in one area. Had we been hit at our company headquarters that night, they would have had to fly in a new medical unit, because every jackass was just standing around because this unit wanted to have everybody before everybody else could go home. It's like, no. You get an attack. When the attack is over, everybody goes to the company headquarters and checks in. You don't go to the company headquarters while you're still under attack. You don't walk. You stay in your little bunker. You're not going out to fight if you're medical personnel, right? Anyway, there was a number of other really silly things that they did that I did not enjoy my second deployment nearly as much. So, and then I was working at a major medical center after I got back for a couple years. I worked there 6 years. I got back in 2008, and then I left Brooke Army Medical Center in 2014. And Brooke Army Medical is now San Antonio Military Medical Center. It's like a level 1 trauma hospital. It's a really good hospital. They do a lot of good research there. And when I was there, right, the medical quality was top notch. I don't know what it is now. But did fun stuff like work on burn units and do cancer and hematology, oncology. It's the same for you? Your deployment wasn't as fun? Kind of ruined it for you? Not that a deployment is supposed to be fun, right? But there are times when other people just try to make your deployment more miserable than necessary. They sent us back in December 2006 and pulled the unit for retraining. Yeah, the whole Lindy England scandal, the human rights issue, the torture. If you remember, the Iraqi guy, he's got a bag on his head and his arms are outstretched and he's holding onto 2 wires and he's standing on a box, right? That was a reserve unit that Lindy England belonged to, and I think it was a military police unit. I don't remember what type of unit it was. You're trying to get home and they turn you around? That sucks. So Lindy England's unit got investigated and sent home and were replaced by another reserve unit, and the Combat Support Hospital out of Fort Polk got sent out to Abu Ghraib to build out a hospital for the detention center there and to treat detainees, active duty personnel, or U.S. and coalition forces, right? And we got out there. A hospital was built, and we were supposed to be kind of like a PR response, kind of make everything look good, which we did great, right? Had some douchebag from the news out there. Well, a couple of them. They interviewed the colonel, our company commander, and took shots to the hospital and everything. And then the next unit that came out, this is what I've told. I never looked this up, right? So if you look it up and it's not true, don't blame me. This is what I heard, and I never verified it, right? But the next unit to come out was from New York, and they were a reserve unit, and they ended up getting their tour cut short because of human rights issues with the detainees. Now, detainees are an interesting group, right? They're not prisoners. There were prisoners, but these are not prisoners yet. Okay? When somebody is brought in, usually it's in a group of people who are all caught up in some kind of sweep that they were doing. They're of a certain age. They had a gun on them, right? Which, it's Iraq, and there's a war going on, and AK-47s abound. Everyone's got one, right? But that wasn't enough for the units out patrolling the areas to snatch them up and bring them in, okay? And so a lot of these guys weren't doing anything, and they were just wrong place, wrong time. That was the bulk of the detainees. They'd go through the process, they'd get all their paperwork, what they were charged with. They would get processed, get seen by everyone, medical, dental, optometry, all that. And then, you know, be placed in a camp and await their trial or for the rest of their paperwork to clear them, and then they'd be shipped off. And we had guys coming and going all the time. Sometimes we had guys that would go and get caught in these sweeps just to come back because it was the only place they could get a hot meal, right? So these are not people that are guilty of anything necessarily. There were plenty of people in the Iraqi insurgency who were fighting U.S. forces. It's probably really difficult to pin down like which, you know, quote unquote terrorist group do you belong to? Are you ISIS? Are you Al Qaeda? Are you part of the Taliban? Most of them weren't. But we did have some. So you have to provide prisoners with medical care. You got to treat them humanely. You can't put bags over their head and put them up on a box and tell them that if they drop the wire, they'll get electrocuted. You can't, you know, waterboarding them doesn't work. Can't torture prisoners, which is what, you know, it's what happened. You're not supposed to do it. It's bad. What else happened while I was over there? Oh, the wall. Okay, which side of it is that? Rising east, sets in the west, north, south. So the south side wall of Abu Ghraib, which is about a mile long. Abu Ghraib was originally built by the British, and the southern wall, I think it's a southern wall, had been knocked down once before and then rebuilt by the Iraqis. And so during, and it built in like 50s or 60s or something. And the wall that the Iraqis had come and built, this mile long wall, I speak English, that they had replaced, fell down during a windstorm. Right? We had a couple of tanks guarding that mile-long section, but it was very vulnerable feeling when you live inside a prison compound and one of your walls falls down, and everyone outside of the area is not necessarily friendly to you. You guys had 600 detainees at one point because the release process was so slow with S2 and other intel units dealing with them? Yeah, 100%. It's a slow process, period. When I was leaving Buka had something like 30,000 detainees in it or something. 3,000? 30,000? I'd have to look that number up. I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it was over 10,000. It's a big camp, right? And by the time I was leaving, they were shipping out just busloads of detainees because I think they were closing the place down or something. I don't remember. But they were shutting it down, handing it over to the Iraqis, and trying to make sure it was empty. Let's see here. How does this look? I think I'm done working on all this right here. That looks okay. I could probably tweak a little bit there and here. Those probably don't need to be there. But, or bring this row out a little bit more, make it a little more curved. Well, this looks pretty good, and this looks like it comes down. Well, you know, all right. It's looking great. Thank you. Like, I realized that replacing all the gold rings sucked. And adding the black lining was absolutely necessary. But even that was not, like, I just want to, I'd be almost done with this if I had those hours into finishing the whole project, right? So, but soon. I mean, I'm on the last quarter of what I have now. So, I am ecstatic. Excuse me. Yeah. Now, the unit that I deployed with the first time, I have a few friends left from that unit. I'm in the unit group on Facebook, right? And they're all pretty okay people, but I was an outsider. I got to the unit right before they deployed. Like, I got there and then we left, basically. And so I've only, maintained a kinship with a few. Because they had all deployed to Kuwait a few years prior. And they spent a year deployed together and training together and doing all this stuff. And then I show up. I'm just some jackass, So it was a little rough at first. But eventually I made some friends. So it's really hard to be in a group and find ways to entertain yourself, when you don't really know anyone. I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. So, but other than that, right? Like, if a deployment can be good, you know, if people shooting at you, if that experience can be good, it wasn't a terrible experience. It's like, I would rather be deployed than be at a major medical center if I had to be in the military again. Rather be deployed, then I'd rather be in a field unit, and then a medical center. Taji was south of Baghdad? No, I just looked it up. It said it was north of Baghdad. So I can't read. I may not be able to read. There may be more than one Taji. I don't know. I just typed in Taji, Iraq, so... I didn't, you know, I just glanced at it. I'm not well versed in Iraqi geography. Is that even geography? Is the knowledge of where cities are on a map geography? Right? Like it is, right? Like geography is not just mountains and... I'm worried I just outed myself as double-digit IQ individual. Alright. The wonderful thing about working on this is that this does not hurt my hands at all. Time to go shoot the cat. Go take care of your cat, Rick. I appreciate you hanging out. We're almost done here. A couple more minutes. I think I'm gonna... Whatever I don't get done tonight, I might be able to finish during the day tomorrow and then be able to move forward with this whole project. Move on to the next step, whatever that is. You thought it was north? It looked north on the map that I saw. If it's not, you know, I mean, you're geographically challenged. Yeah. Same, buddy. Like for example, my last job was doing a little bit of home health, going around people's houses, and I went out west into the county and saw people, for the most part. And if you ask me to go back out there now, I had to use a GPS the whole time for just about every trip to figure out where I was going, because I never knew where I was going. And if you ask me to drive out there now, I drove out that way for a year. And if I had to drive out there now, there's no way. Not a chance. It's kind of easy because I know I'm out west. And I know that if I go east, I will hit the lake. And then from there, I just need to determine if I go north or south to get back home. Because I'm right up next to Lake Michigan. Right? So it's not too terribly difficult. But when I'm out in the county, I'm not from here. I don't know where places are at. I drove home back in January to see my dad. And I got back home okay. My dad was sick in the hospital. He's doing much better now. I'm gonna give him a call tomorrow. That's my goal tomorrow. Give my dad a call. But I got home to Boise and I remembered everything because I grew up there for 20 years. I know where everything's at. But here in Wisconsin, I am not, I don't know where shit's at. If I don't have my phone and the GPS pulled up, like, you know, if society collapses, I'm not going anywhere, because if I go anywhere, I'll get lost. So yeah, tomorrow. Call my dad tomorrow. I need to call my grandma too. Every time I see her, she gets shorter. But she's an awesome grandma. She's like 120 years old. She's not that old. I think she's almost 90. I don't know. I should know how old my grandma is. But, yeah, give them a call. Follow up with the lawyer tomorrow. Right? And then yeah. So once the website's organized, it's really just setting up designs. Lol. Which part? The part where my grandma is like 120? Yeah. Let's see here. What else do I got? I'm trying to figure out what else I gotta do tomorrow. It's good for me to organize that in my mind the night before, and then because that way I can completely forget it first thing in the morning, and then about mid-afternoon I'll remember that I had plans to do something, and I'll scramble to try and get everything done. That's how I work. Gray Sturk. Roguely Raid? What? Suboptimal. Stop spamming words, phrases, warning. Oh, Nightbot. What? I don't know how Nightbot works. I've got it set up, but that's funny. Gray Sturk has been timed out for 5 seconds. I'll have to double check my settings. I apologize for that. Nightbot is annoying. Thank you for the raid. That's enough. Okay, so once I have my website all figured out and everything, I can work on my stream channels. Hi, Blue. Hi, Grace. Hi, Rogley. I am getting rated over on Twitch. That's awesome. Of course, gotta share the love and come see my work. Thank you. So, yeah. I have a list of things I want to add to the stream to make it more fun. And a raid alarm is one of those things. For those of you on Facebook, I just had a bunch of people pop over on Twitch all at the same time. How's everybody doing? What were you working on tonight? My tapestry is amazing. Thank you. Give me a second. Finish this row and I'll show you. Come on. This piece is so beautiful, you want to get Chainmail so bad? That's awesome to hear. Thank you. Actually, I have an app that I just sent to be reviewed by Google and Apple that is designed. One of the things that it is supposed to help do is to help people get started in their chainmail endeavors. And it's got some tools on there, like a conversion calculator and what was the other one? It is an aspect ratio calculator. You're working on dice bag. I did see that. It looked good. And you're fixing a necklace? Right on. I need to get some necklaces done. But first I need to get rings for necklaces. Alright. So actually, hopefully, I've sent the app bundles off to Google and Apple like 3 times now, and I think I've got everything that they wanted me to fix done. So we'll see. Hopefully this last time's the charm. I'm gonna lay this out for you. And then once it's done, all right. Oh man, that looks so much better. All the gold rings are out and everything's getting lined with black, and you can see like where the scroll work crosses over each other now. And then I just got to finish up down here. How long has this tapestry taken so far? Okay. So right now, as it currently sits, it's 14,000 rings. Right? If I am not focused on anything else. Alright, James, have a good night. And I am just working on weaving. I can do about 300 rings an hour. Right? So if I'm weaving something that's just one color, I don't have to like pick and choose what color goes next. It's about 200 to 300 rings an hour, right? Something like that. And this is 14,000 rings. It's at least taken 46 hours. The black is definitely making it pop. Yeah, thank you. It was a good decision. I recently, all of this yellow that you see was a completely different color. It was a gold color that I didn't have enough rings of to finish. So first I started and I replaced all the gold with the yellow I had on hand. And I have enough of that to finish the rest of it. This is what it's going to look like in the end. All that quasi knot work. And it's going to say Finnegan's Wake on it, right? So between what I did when I initially started this, which was like 10, 12, 15 years ago, and what I've done since with all the changes and finishing it up, I probably have about 100 hours into it. And I probably have another 100 to go. Because what I'm doing right now is just busy work, really. I'm not making any progress on the completion of the project. It's just making it look better. So when it's all said and done, I think it'll be about 42,000 rings. Only 46? Yeah. It's definitely more, and like I said, it's probably in the range of 100. But I started this forever ago. It sat for a long time, and I've been wanting to finish it. But I made the mistake of not mapping out. Yeah, I probably, as of right now, okay, so the 46 hours is if I was just weaving rings and not figuring out where each ring went, right? And I'll explain that in a second. The 100 hours is probably more realistic, right? Because you have, what I'm doing is, because I was a slow child, I did not do any proper prep work for this inlay. So this picture is all I have to work off of, right? That's it. I don't have it mapped out. I don't know how many rings I need. I have no idea how many rings the final project is going to be. And so with that, and with all the adjustments I've made, I would say probably 100 hours. And I probably have another 100 hours until it's completed, at least. I hope that made sense. Feel free to ask more questions to clarify. Okay. Anyway. So all I'm doing right now is taking out work that I've already done that I didn't have to do in order to make it look better. And it looks a ton better. But I'm not making any progress, so I'm adding hours, but it should have been done right the first time. By mapping out my design and ordering all the rings and colors I wanted the first time. And that's the colors of the rings is what led me to stop working on it initially. And the fact that I was freehanding it, it became too overwhelming for me. I didn't think I could do it. You love a little slideshow up the top. My work is beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, that's if you go to MailleWerX.com, I design chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And so I am cleaning house right now, so there's not a bunch of stuff on the website, but those are all chainmail designs up there. And I'm planning on adding more. Here after the website revision is done. So I make chainmail in real life, and I do it on the computer and make fun stuff with it. I realized a long time ago that I would not be able to wrap the world in chainmail, and so I set off to figure out how to get more people, with chainmail themed garments, or get them access to chainmail themed garments. So come on. Like, so here. I think that camera's probably a little bit better. There's my chainmail themed hat that I wear all the time. I used to have another one, but my son stole it. The other one is Hoodoo Hex with blue bead captures. And those are actually not on the website right now. I am working on getting them back up there. Now that I am unemployed, this is what I'm going to be doing full time. So it baffles you that you can do so much with chainmail, like chainmail clothes, for instance. Yeah. It's all right. There's a large chainmail Facebook group, and in that group there was a guy who made a treasure chest out of chainmail with a little lock, 2 of them. Someone made a hot air balloon. I mean, it doesn't float or anything, but, you know, sculpted a hot air balloon. It's a medium that you can do just about anything you want, as long as you've got some of the mechanics down of like how aspect ratios work and how to graduate ring sizes from small to large and back up, and being, you know, just familiar with like being able to look at something and guesstimate what ring size you would need to get the chainmail to do what you want, right? But you can make sheets of chainmail, chains of chainmail, sculptures of chainmail, and so it really is the best stuff on earth, and there's nothing that, you know, you really can't do with it. What's the opening to Aladdin where that guy's selling him it will also Julian fries. It would not break. Ding ding. It broke. You do a lot of cool stuff with it. And right now, the really cool thing right now is that for probably the past 25 years or so, the number of materials that chainmail artists get to work with has exponentially increased. Right, the number of different types of metals and the colors and the tools available, like ringinators and Xeron pliers and wubbers, all that stuff. I mean, there's really just a rapid growth of an increased knowledge base to draw from that's been going on right now. Ton of fun. Speaking of clothes, Royally is going to make a chainmail dress for a friend, which blows your mind, but also sounds a bit uncomfortable. Yeah. The chainmail dress, I have as long as your closures are okay and the way the chainmail fabric is made, you know, it'll be a little cold when you put it on, but other than that, it is just heavy. All right, what time is it? 10:18. All right, guys. So I am going to have to finish this section probably tomorrow during the day while I consult with a lawyer. Alright. This is all the stuff I got done tonight, and I gotta say, like, I think it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. You know? He also has a community weighted blanket and Roguely. I've seen the weighted blanket. That's a cool project. You mentioned the treasure chest. Yeah, hop on Facebook. You can find the MailleWerX Facebook page. Let's see here. You can find the MailleWerX Facebook page on there. And then I stream Sunday through Thursday, 9 to 10. So if you want to come back and see more, I do appreciate you all stopping by. Thank you for that. Here is, since I have this on hand, right? The Chainmail Jelly Cube. It's a sculptural chainmail piece. Sculptural chainmail piece. Where does the pronoun go? I don't know. Anyway, it's like a fidget toy. It's awesome. But it is 10:20. I do have to go. And let's see here. Okay. So, be sure to check out MailleWerX.com for all your chainmail themed apparel and accessory needs. Alright, and then I will be back on tomorrow night, 9 to 10. In the meantime, you all have a wonderful evening. Alright, as Roguely, are you still watching? She's still here. I think I have to go to... You are here, okay. Thank you for the raid. I do appreciate you being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. How come I can't write a message in my own chat? Because I'm in Stream Manager? Let me do it here. Alright. How do you raid someone? Exclamation point, raid. Do you go to their channel first? It's one of those things I need to learn because I've had a couple raids. But I can't get there from Streamlabs. Typically stop into their channel and have it open so when you raid you're already there. Like on the computer. If I do that, I get an echo. Okay, we're gonna try this and see if it works because it's irresponsible of me to not know how to do this.
Birthday breakfast in bed. Best roommate.
All right, I'm getting a commercial. Thank you all for your patience at, sitting here in my ignorance. Because I don't know. There we go. Alright. Is it gonna let me do it? Nope. Okay, hang on. Why did it do that? That's awful. Slash raid. Do I do it in their chat subject? Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, slash their raid their name here. Do I do that in my chat or their chat? Ooh, I think I did it. Turn this off. Thank you so much for your help.
You're just in time for the second half of the rave. The leather rave, yay!
Alright, so for anyone who is still on my stream, thanks so much for walking me through that. I do appreciate it. I'm going to end this one and we're going to go over there, alright? You guys all have a wonderful evening. Thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Alright? I'm just going to straight up just